Assassin's Creed Valhalla had one of the stranger reveals this morning with 8-hour live stream where Boss Logic, who's an extremely talented graphics artist, took this image and turned it into this one. Now this appears to be Assassin's Creed Valhalla's cover art, and the full reveal will be tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, there's not a whole lot that you can really take from this image. There are a few things that I do want to pick out about it and talk about, but some of the bigger things that I learned today about the game are really awesome and I'm really excited for, and I want to share those with you as well. So starting off is the fact that not only is Ashraf Ismail, who's worked on two of the best games in the series with Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Origins, not only is he in charge of this game, but it appears that he brought back Darby McDevitt to the Assassin's Creed team. Now, Darby is known to have written some of the best stories in the entire series. This includes Assassin's Creed Revelations and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is extremely exciting for this game. Now, a lot of hardcore fans were not happy with the way Odyssey kind of went away from the standard Assassin's Creed formula, including the lore and just not involving the Assassin's Templar struggle in the game as a whole, and that's totally understandable. I was one of those fans as well, but this isn't about Odyssey. So hopefully Darby being on this team and Ash, of course, being in charge of this game means that we'll be able to return to that traditional Assassin's Creed lore and storytelling and having Assassins and Templars back, even if it's, Proto-Assassins and Proto-Templars still, because this is technically right before the Assassins and Templars went public during the Crusades. We still will have something a lot closer, and I think the more traditional Assassin symbol on the middle of this big axe right here is a really nice way of them showing that. Now, of course, a lot of the RPG mechanics and like the bird drone, I think, are going to come back. And, that's the first thing I want to talk about on this picture is you see the raven in the background. That was rumored a lot that there would be a raven that the main character has that is essentially the eagle drone that we had in the past two games. Now, there's a couple other things I want to point out about the picture as well, since we're starting to get onto that. One of the other big ones I want to talk about that has to do with the raven still is the ravens on the sails of the longships here on the left. Now, I don't know if the kingdom or the clan or the jarldom that our main character comes from, I don't know if that is just a symbol of where he comes from and that's just like his jarldom symbol, or if that's just like kind of he's in charge there and that's because he has a raven with him, that's their symbol as a whole. Obviously we don't know all that, but it is interesting that there are two ships here that both have that same insignia on them. I think that's very interesting. I doubt we'll be able to control two ships, but it would be interesting to see if he is in charge of, say, a fleet of longships and he's really big on exploring. This could open a lot up for a Viking game. Obviously, they traveled a lot, and them not traveling the places would be really disappointing in a Viking game, considering that's what they're most known for. But I just really thought that was very interesting. Now, another thing I do want to point out that also lends to them traveling, and this one seems pretty obvious, is you can see that there's a raid going on here on the right. Now, one of the really interesting parts of this raid that's going on is the red flags and the red coloring on the, I'm assuming, English soldier in the foreground. So the British military didn't adopt red as their standard color until I want to say the 16 or 1700s. I don't know for sure. Someone who's a military expert on the British would know the exact date, but I do know that during the medieval times, and especially during this time, red was not a standard issue color. Now, maybe for that specific kingdom or that specific noble, they wore red and they're just putting that on here to show like these are the British. Or it could be that they just put the British as red to show that they're the enemy and that's who you're fighting against, and it's just easier to identify the red as the British. Maybe there'll be other factions who are different colors as well that we go visit, but I just thought that was a very interesting little piece on the cover art. Now, as you can see, some of the guys in the background, particularly the guy right behind the first British soldier, he's wearing white, so there could be, some different colors of the soldiers, and that would be a little bit more authentic as opposed to just everyone wearing red. Back then, a lot of the nobility, a lot of the armies were formed of different kinds of colors that represented their different houses. They weren't necessarily all just one uniform army that had one color. So I just thought that was very interesting. To me, it doesn't really matter either way, whichever way they go. I think just doing all red, that would make it a little bit easier to identify for gameplay purposes instead of having reds, blues, greens, and purples all fighting against each other. And this is kind of going to lead into my next point. And as you can see on our main character here, who I'm assuming is our main character, he's got very blue sleeves. He's got some coloration on this sash that seems to be coming across his front, and the Viking woman that's behind him also has a very colorful shield, and you can't really tell how colorful her clothing is. It looks like whatever tunic she's wearing is a similar color to the one that our main character is wearing around his waist. Obviously, they're probably part of the same clan or jarldom, but this is very authentic to the Vikings. They did dress very colorfully. A lot of people assume that they just kind of dressed in, black and brown leather all the time. That was not the case. They did dress extremely colorfully. That's who they were. A lot of people around the world did. Colors are very appealing to humans, so it's only natural that another group of people would pick that, especially when you live in an area as frozen and kind of black and white as Scandinavia can be at times. Colors are going to be very appealing. So that is another reason that I think that they may do solid colors for the enemy factions. So maybe the French wear blue and the British wear red, and then the Viking faction can wear a multitude of colors so that it's much easier to distinguish in combat who is who. You don't want to end up just fighting against your own people. But overall, I do really like that authentic little touch to it. I don't think it's too much. It's more for gameplay purpose and for fun as opposed to just being overly historically accurate. And I am one who prefers historical accuracy, but fun comes first. So I really like that touch. I wish we could take more from this image, but of course it's just an image, and the full reveal will be tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So I will see a lot of you guys there. If you are watching this after this has happened, I will be working on another video regarding the full reveal and kind of breaking that down so that I can get that information out to you guys and give my own perspectives on some little details in the trailer and what you guys may want to see and know about. Maybe hint at what the overall game will be about. I'm really excited for this game. I'm really excited to have Ash and Darby on board for it, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, hopefully this fall. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.